Welcome to Autocar Professional. This is Mukul Yudhvir Singh, and standing with me is Mr. Deepak Ballani, who is DG ISMA. Deepak sir, welcome to Autocar Professional. You being in the limelight, Ethanol is being in the limelight, but then something that we've been hearing from the Honorable Minister and from a lot of industry sources are conversion kits. But there's no word on as to what is going to be the cost of conversion kits. Will that apply to all the cars? So have you worked with the component makers, maybe the research institutions or the OEMs for these conversion kits?
Thank you for having me on your show. Wonderful question. See, we know that Maruti has launched a four-wheeler flex-wheel vehicle. Hero MotoCorp also has launched two-wheeler flex-wheel vehicle. See that these are obviously for the new vehicles which are going to be launched, and specifically on E85 and E100 fuel. But we wanted to give the opportunity to the owners of old vehicles, which is the BS4 and BS6 vehicles also, a choice whether they want to convert their existing vehicle to the flex wheel vehicle. And in this particular cause, ISMA had imported couple of kits from Finland a couple of years back. And we had requested IIT Delhi to do a comprehensive test of these kits on existing vehicles, which is BS4, BS6 vehicles. I'm happy to share that the tests were quite successful and the cars were running properly on this higher blend of fuel after converting the existing vehicle. Obviously, the imported cost of the kit was higher because of the import duty and various other costs. But that time when we found that the local vendor development could be done here, and there were a lot of companies who were willing to manufacture these kits in India. And an estimate that time was that if these kits are manufactured in India, it could be produced in the range of around 15,000 rupees, which I believe is a quite reasonable cost for a kit which can be bought by the consumers for converting their existing vehicle to the flex wheel vehicle. But again, it depends on various approvals. The government has to do the testing of these conversion kits. There has to be a BIS standards for that. And then we can have a lot of people who can start making these kits in India. They can get into a joint venture or a technology collaborations with international companies, because what we know, if there are many countries, there are many companies also in US, in Brazil, in other countries, they have the flex wheel manufacturers, the conversion kit manufacturers, with their technology can be brought to India and we can start manufacturing here.
Interesting. So would it be correct to say that the kits should not cost above 20,000 rupees? Would that be a burden on the end consumer?
No, I believe a reasonable cost, because we have to also see the acceptance by the consumers. So in all possibility, depending on what the economic sense, I believe the kit should be in the range of around 15 to 20,000 rupees for a mass acceptability by the consumers. So we are hoping that these kits could be manufactured by local companies in this range.
Interesting. You mentioned you did some tests with the IIT. Could you throw some light on that? What car did you use and what was the performance like when you converted that with the conversion kit?
See, this was done on Maruti Swift Desire. And
was that a BS4 or a BS6?
It was a BS4 vehicle. And I think they ran it for almost 5,000 to 10,000 kilometers. And there was no damage to the vehicle. There was no compatibility problem in the vehicle. And this test was quite successful. So we are very confident that these conversion kits perhaps could be brought in India. And I believe this particular segment also could be opened for higher ethanol utilization.
Interesting. On one hand, we have surplus ethanol at the moment. On the other hand, ISMA is now advocating manufacturing of conversion kits in India. Do you see both of these as bigger export opportunities to countries we already do business with, especially given the circumstances right now? Oil depends on one country, on one strait. That gets closed, everything gets hampered in India. Similarly, on the other hand, EVs, they also kind of depend, the entire value chain depends on one country. If something happens there, then that also goes for a toss. would you advocate exports of ethanol as well as the kits manufactured in India, if that are done, to countries we do business with?
Absolutely good question. See, the first part of the question is whether we can export ethanol. See, today we have the capacity of producing almost 2000 crore liter of ethanol, with additional 400 crore liter of ethanol being added next year. So we will have a capacity of producing almost 2400 crore liter. At the moment, our requirement for 20% blending is only 1100 crore liter. And with the flex fuel vehicle and the E85, obviously it is going to be very gradual. So we will not see a substantial demand increase in next years to come. So at the moment, we have almost have a capacity of blending almost E40. So that is why we have a huge capacity which is not utilized. So definitely we have also written to the government, we have discussed with the government that if on year-to-year basis, depending on the surplus ethanol we have, if the exports could be allowed, and if there is an export parity, I believe a lot of these countries, neighboring countries in Africa, who have now started thinking about blending mandates, they could be one of the countries who can import our ethanol for their own blending purpose with the petrol.
Interesting. So speaking of exports and countries, a lot of energy advocates and experts refer to the United States as the Saudi Arabia of ethanol. And there are already apprehensions that India might have to, or India would export ethanol manufactured in US very soon. Do you see a possibility there?
You mean to say import from US?
Yes, import.
I don't think that is going to happen in near future, because we already have overcapacity of ethanol in the country. We are already catering to our requirement. In fact, we are talking about exporting our ethanol. We have a huge capacity. We will also, as and when our demand will increase, we will also expand our capacity. After exhausting 1G ethanol, we also have 2G ethanol capacity. So I don't think we will have to import ethanol from any country for that matter, because we have our own capacities. And this program, the ethanol program, was brought in to basically give impetus to our local economy, to our farmers, to reduce our imported crude, to save foreign exchange, and for the environment, and specifically to enhance the farmer income. So if you see these pillars of our ethanol blending program, and given the capacities which we have, I don't think we will have to import any ethanol from any country.
Interesting. One last question, Deepak sir. How soon can we expect the conversion kits in India? What's your 2 cents on this?
That's very difficult to say, because that really depends on the regulatory approvals, the local vendor development. But I believe if we move fast, we can have the kits in next 6 months to 1 year. But that again depends. I said it depends on the regulatory approvals. It depends on the trials and testing by the auto research institutions. So we will have to see, but we will still try and convince the government and the policy makers, stakeholders, for an early adoption and early manufacturing of these kits in India.
Perfect. Thank you for speaking to Autocar Professional, Deepak sir. This is Mukul Yudhveer Singh signing off for Autocar Professional.